I have a history with Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'm pretty sure you can tell what that history is. I was extremely hyped for this brand new console Pokemon release, and then everything came crumbling down. I was a hopeful man in a sea of flames, war, and discord. I defended this game for over a year, and when I played it, I loved it at first. Not anymore. I don't dislike it. It's not even bad or even average. They're solid 6 to 7 out of 10s with major issues. I'm pretty sure the only reason why I considered them so high at first was because anything was an improvement over Pokemon Let's Go. When the DLC was announced around January, instead of a third version, I was really happy. Third versions have always been very anti-consumer. And then I saw the price. $30 USD. Meaning that this game and its DLC together, at least right now, is more than upcoming PS5 games. So, obviously, I don't think Sword and Shield and its DLC are worth $90. Like, obviously. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about what I thought of the DLC as a whole, being the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, both as add-ons to the game and as individual Pokemon experiences. The good and the bad of each. So, without further ado, let's start. Also, spoilers, both the base game and both of the DLCs. In the base game, we had the wild area, a wonderful idea that was brought down by its small size, lack of real world design, and terrible graphics. In these DLCs, we got 2 new areas to explore and they offer me hope. The Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra are my new favorite locations in the Pokemon series. These 2 areas are larger than the wild area and actually feel like open areas with world design in it instead of just boxes of sand or a lake and just ticking off boxes. No, this is not how it works. These feel like actual places. There are forests where they need to be. There's deserts and islands and caves where they need to be. Oh my god, I am so glad there are caves again. Why were these not in the base game? There are a lot of items to find. Like a lot of items to find. To a point where I stopped collecting them after a while. There's even a town called Freezington in the Crown Tundra, with actual NPCs and traders. If this is what we can expect the entire next region of Generation 9 to be like, then I can see that easily being an excellent world to explore and would easily make Gen 9 by default at least one of my favorites. These 2 areas give me hope for the future of Pokemon world design. Unfortunately, the game's terrible engine stays with the DLC. The graphics are a bit improved from the base game, but they still didn't fix the pop-in, pitiful draw distance on people and Pokemon, and lag when you're online in these areas, which is actually a bigger problem because the entire DLC takes place in these areas. It's not enough to ruin the experience and make it unplayable, but enough to be noticeable, and considering how it's been a year since it released, I wish they fixed the lag at the very least. On top of the areas themselves, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, I guess, but I like the characters and the stories. Isle of Armors is definitely more safe and bland, but the characters in that DLC carry the story for me. Mustard is very funny, and I always enjoy seeing them on screen. Clara in Sword and Avery in Shield are great rivals who absolutely detest your guts and even sabotage in battle, which more rivals should do that. I had Avery because I picked Shield, and there was literally a point where he said that he'll use 3% of his power. This is amazing. I also think that Honey, while a bit bland, is very sweet and who has a weirdly strict side, which doesn't show up a lot but shows up at certain points. And lastly, there is Kubfu, a small fighting type legendary where you have to help it open up to people and challenge one of the 2 towers. He's fine. As a character, he's fairly generic, and we'll talk about metagame shit later, but he wasn't bad. I think the only one who I didn't care about was Honey's son. Wait, what the fuck is his name again? His name's Hyde. Expected it to be like Mayo or something. Yeah, if I had to spend that much time looking up his name, he barely said anything, and his design is pretty weird. Probably the most forgettable character in all of Gen 8. Now let's talk about Crown Tundra's story. While I like its characters as well, the actual story quest this time around is more interesting, and while we'll talk about what actually happens later, the characters in this DLC are also pretty cool. Peony is now one of my favorite characters in Pokémon due to his infectiously energetic personality, wholesome dad energy, and excellent artistic skills. I laughed multiple times about things this guy says, and he's not that bad of a battler either. His daughter, Peonia, on the other hand, is a much more straight character, who I found pretty chill and neat in her own way. I wish we got to see her a bit more, but as she is, she's pretty neat. The final actual character in this DLC is Calyrex. He is a king who possesses Peony to speak with you. What the fuck? He was the king of the Crown Tundra long ago who helped the people of the land alongside his noble steed, either Glastrier or Spectrier. But over time, the people there slowly forgot who he was, and his powers weakened. It is much more easy to bond with him considering how he actually talks than, say, Kubfu. While you're on this adventure, you will also find the temples of the legendary golems from Ruby and Sapphire, as well as Galarian forms of the Kanto bird, which may or may not be separate Pokémon. What's very interesting about these birds is that they're all dicks. Out of the 2, I like Crown Tundra's story more very easily, because of how it is able to balance being more serious than Isle of Armor and weirder at the same time. Props to them. Now, what actually happens in this story? Actually, change of plans. How about we don't fucking do that? Yeah, sorry, I was meaning to get this out a while ago, but I feel like the following section was a bit too long and kind of unnecessary considering I already talked about it. And I'm going to be mentioning the points in a condensed way later on anyway. So basically all you need to know about this is that whoever thought of the idea of choice exclusive Urshifu Regis and horses are a PP head. Non-linearity, good, hope that's in next game, and Crown Tundra story is just better than the other one. So, yeah. But to circumvent the very small size of the main story's length, there are also a lot of side missions and features that you can do in this DLC, one of these being lots of collectibles. Because Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and Paper Mario also added them with Koroks, Moons, and Toads respectively, Pokemon did it too. On the Isle, it's the 150 Alolan Diglett who you find and give to the hiker near the dojo to give you special Alolan forms. I appreciate this quest, but I feel like there isn't much of an end goal here. I already transferred in all of these forms, so while I like that it's there, it didn't give a good enough reward. There are also 150 footprints, 50 per each of the Swords of Justice. These are much easier to find and are a lot less interesting to find, but they actually have a reward, being the Swords of Justice and Keldeo, which there was no way to catch it in the games before. I liked this a bit more because of the incentive, but I feel like the actual effort of getting these Diglett are better in my opinion. There are also 3 new battling modes, being Restricted Sparring, Dynamax Adventures, and Galarian Star Tournament. Restricted Sparring is something that I'm pretty sure most people forgot happened. A team of only 3 Mono-type Pokemon for only twice the amount of BP at the start as the Battle Tower? Nah, I'll stick with Battle Tower. Although, Galarian Star Tournament is a multi-battle version of the League rematches where you team up with a character and battle the trainers in the tournament. You also get some unique dialogue, which I really appreciated. I like Clara calling Marnie cute and her blushing to that. I like Mustard saying that he and Leon are going to have a champion time. I like Nessa saying that her and B should go out for desserts. I like how everyone in the game hates Swordward and Shieldbird as much as I do. I like Opal threatening to cock and ball towards her peers. All of these new sides to the characters we've known for about a year is really appreciative and makes them feel like actual real people. Although, I did steamroll the entire thing with Astral Barrage Calyrex, but the story stuff made up for it. Now let's talk about Dynamax Adventures, which are without a shadow of a doubt the best part of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I am addicted to Dynamax Adventures. You rent a Pokemon, team up with 3 other players, and then go into these labyrinths to fight 3 Dynamax Pokemon in the order of your choice and can run into trainers who can give you items, new rentals to replace yours, or just berries to heal your Pokemon. You get 4 shared lives throughout the whole thing, which makes it the most genuine challenge in the whole game. And if these were like raid battles in the base game, then this would have been a gigantic slog and something that I would never return to. But they fixed raid battles. They completely removed Barrier Shield, which was kept me from doing normal ones for a while. All of the Pokemon, including the legendaries, have 100% catch rates, so I can finally use the normal Pokeballs and Premier Balls that I've stocked up for the past year to catch these guys. But what if I would want? But why would I want them if I already have the Mons already? Well, for one, you can replace your rental in your current space with the new one if you decide to catch it, and 2, the shiny rate with the charm is crazy. It is a 1 in 25 chance to catch a shiny normal Pokemon and a 1 in 100 for legendaries. I have not gotten any myself yet, but I've seen a lot of people get shinies really quickly, some even on their very first one. While the shiny log on the Galarian birds are disappointing, and so is the fact that you can only catch these legendary once, Dynamax Adventures is a genuinely fun and inventive multiplayer mode that I keep coming back to for Dynite Ore, and just cause it's fun. Especially if you have 3 others in voice chat. That's really cool. Just, please, don't do endless mode. Oh god, just don't do endless mode. Now, let's talk about the Pokemon themselves, namely the 200 plus monsters that came back in the expansion pass. It is a pretty slimy business practice to hold back these just to bring them back as DLC, but you can get these through other means without buying the pass itself, so it's all good. With that said, I'm very happy some of these Pokemon returned, including Crocodile, Luxray, Scizor, Porygon 2, Yveltal, Garchomp, Absol, and Metagross. And even ones I personally don't care about, like Altaria, Aggron, Lopunny, Dunsparce, and Miltank, I know made other people very happy. One of my best IRL friends is actually a very big Dunsparce fan. It really does prove the every Pokemon is someone's favorite thing. But aside from the fact that there are still more than 200 Pokemon still not in the game, and will probably never be in the game, including some personally disappointing exclusions like Deoxys, Greninja, and Darkrai, there is really only one issue I have with the returning Pokemon, and it's actually my biggest flaw with Crown Tundra specifically. It shit on the metagame. And this goes for Isle of Armor too. Power Herb, Geomancy, Dynamax, Xerneas, Beast Boosting, Dynamax, Ultra Beast, including Iron Defense / Bulka Beast Boost Stack Attacka. Bringing back God tier Pokemon like Garchomp, Amoonguss, Salamence, and Landorus Therian. Having your two new legendaries have insanely broken abilities, with one being able to hit through protecting moves with no drawbacks, and the other giving it two abilities, one of which is basically a version of Moxie. And the Isle of Armor was when they gave Cinderace and Rillaboom their hidden abilities, which shot them up the usage tiers. While it does have quality of life features like Max Soup, Ability Patch, and EV resets, as well as making transferred Pokemon finally battle ready, it really doesn't matter when in every other respect they completely dicked the competitive scene. Also, fun fact, Kingdra gets Hurricane, and in the same update as Politoed returning. So, good luck. But apart from that and the very obvious price issue, what other problems do I have with the DLC? Well, let's start off with, this is the easiest one to pick. The following Pokemon. I've seen a lot of people say that it's unusable, and others say that it's more realistic. But I don't agree with either. But I can't deny that this actually gives Let's Go another leg up on Sword and Shield. In that game, you were able to have all your Pokemon follow you, mostly at a reasonable pace, and they could scout for items, comment on their surroundings, and you can even ride the bigger ones. All of these are to scale, by the way. I've seen a lot of people say how Dragapult and Regieleki shouldn't follow you at a reasonable pace because they wouldn't use their speed in battle and normal travel. While I somewhat agree, did they have to make it this slow? Where I can't normally run for 15 seconds without them having to teleport? And why don't they continuously follow you? They follow, and then they stop, and then they follow, and then they stop. That doesn't make any sense, even in this context. In my old written review, I had a theory where the invisible barrier between the trainer and Pokemon was because they literally just made it the Pokemon chasing after you in the overworld, but with a barrier to keep it from starting the battle. I now understand that what they really did is reuse the camp overworld animations, but forget to have them constantly move. This is really lazy either way, and I don't like how it was implemented. I will, however, give them a bit of slack. They had, 1, to work with Sword and Shield's terrible engine, and 2, had to account for a freeform camera for the first time. I'm going to hope that they make it good in Gen 9 now that they're more accommodated with console power. And the other issue, I think the main story content for the DLC are, as a whole, a bit on the shorter side. I blitzed through Isle of Armor in an afternoon, while Crown Tundra took a little bit longer than that. It was a combined 10 hours for half the price of the base game. While other stuff like Dynamax Adventures, Diglett Hunts, and other side content will keep you busy for more than that 10 hours, it still feels very short-lived, and I wish they were a little longer. Another issue I have is more of a personal disappointment. Peony's connection or lack of connection to Rose. Despite it being his brother, it's really only ever brought up 3 times. Once as a passing comment in the beginning, once in his rare league card, and once in an optional side event with Olina you probably wouldn't know exists until someone tells you. I also think we don't get enough reasons for the Reggies, the Sword of Justice, and other reasons to be in Galar. Are they just here? Like, why are the Reggies here? Why is Keldeo here? This doesn't make sense. Apart from these issues, most of my other gripes are either nitpicks, like how Articuno didn't spawn, or issues with the base game, like the dated presentation and terrible map. Did I like the expansion pass? Overall, I'd say yeah. While Isle of Armor was lacking in ambition and replayability, Crown Tundra was probably my favorite Pokemon experience since the games went 3D. This DLC overall boosted Sword and Shield's enjoyment for me a lot and made me like them more. These DLCs have excellent wild open areas, memorable cast of characters, great music, enjoyable side modes, an addictive Dynamax Adventures mode, a fairly good story in the latter half, and helped breathe life back into a game that I just saw as sort of okay. I will still criticize its terrible follow mechanic, murder of the metagame, short length, lack of lore in terms of explaining the why about a lot of things, and simply put, still feeling behind compared to many other RPGs in terms of presentation, cutscenes, and gameplay. I overall enjoyed the expansion pass. I would, however, not recommend it at all to those who hated Sword and Shield. This does not fix the game, even if it gives the best parts of it. This does not justify the game's now $90 price tag, but in the future, if you can find the physical bundle for $60, go right ahead. The expansion pass is a really good experience that is just held back by being the Sword and Shield expansion pass. But this has me thinking, and this is the common question for you all. How do you think the 25th anniversary will be celebrated? Will New Snap carry it? Will we get Diamond and Pearl remakes? Will Unite be the 25th anniversary game? My personal hope is for a collection of all the previous Pokemon games on the Switch, with little doodads thrown in there like concept art, trailers, and other stuff. But I'm personally expecting Unite, Detective Pikachu 2, and New Snap to carry, as Gen 9 will come out the year after that, or even the year after that. But next time, we're gonna talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield's, quote, biggest competition. Until then, I'll see you all next time.